All right, to prepare the document, first we have to create a new document and using the custom size 1280 by 720. So this is a 720p size. And using text tool to type the text we need, in this case, Stranger Things. And then we want to confirm and resize the font. And then you go to change this one to the ITC font we supported. Okay, so here there's several steps. Is very important. Where you want to do is to make this one all uppercase. So you may be using Command T to open uppercase control to make this one uppercase. And also the next things you might want to considering is to adjustment the line height. Okay, so you can using Shift and up key, Option up key to change it. So then what we need to do is to adjust the color. So you can using the appearance panel to adjust the color to change the stroke with into red. And also you can using the Shift F6 to do more control. Okay, so but overall we just need a very basic control. So here next things you want to do is a Shift T to make this one the S and R looks bigger. So Shift T called a touch type tool, so which will help you to make a very unique design for each character. Okay, so once we just do a very basic adjustment for S and R, and then we accept the result. Okay, for the demo purpose. And then what we're going to do is to you wanted to ungroup these things, Command Shift G several times. And I also wanted to Command Shift O to create an outline and ungroup. Okay, so you may not using outline, you're just using Command Shift G several times. Okay. All right. So and then we just copy it, and then this part is complete. And then we're going to open XD to continue the next step. So in XD, we do the same thing. We create a 1280 by 720 size of a canvas, and the Command V to paste all the image in. So here you want to do right-click to ungroup the same, to do the ungroup multiple times. Also, here you want to make sure that you want to go to Object panel and ungroup everything if that shows as a group. Okay, you can also to just ungroup the mask. So basically multiple times Command Shift G. So there are details here. Is the you can change the size, but if you change that, you will find this one a large frame. So don't forget to delete this frame. It's a different. And then you want to go to this is kind of a ready. You want to export this one to After Effects now. So we move to After Effects. So this process saves a lot of time in prepare each single layer. So now we have Stranger Things, all the text layers on each timeline layers. So we can continue to do the animation. This is the fast way we can make a search animation in this way. So we're using Illustrator, using XD, and we convert using XD as a bridge to make things move to After Effects. So the one things you want to do first is to Command K or Control K to adjustment this timeline into 1000. Okay, so it's 10. It's 1000. It's 10 seconds. So we try to using 10 seconds timeline for this project. Okay, so we have enough time to try different camera settings and then try animations. For the Stranger Things, as we needed to highlight all the layers, and once you highlight all the layers, and you can find where the position about the 6 seconds, and open one of these position mark. So we try to key at this moment. Um, be sure that you highlight all the layers, so you can just highlight one, and then you will be able to make sure that you got all the keyframes ready. Okay, so now what we can do is to back to our early time, and then just ready to drag this one, leave the thing, to create the base animation. So because we only have a outline, only have a stroke for the text, so be careful you're not change the size or distort the text. So just follow those process and the control. All of this, we're not exactly copy the original one. We just want to have this concept to show the concept. Okay, so let's control all of this. Maybe you can go to different direction, move horizontally and vertically. So in this case, we just want to make this one very straightforward. Okay, so just horizontal and vertical. What next things you want to do is to make them to have some variations. The variations including the different start point and the different ending point. So what you can do is to highlight all the layers, hit Command A and hit U, so you can show all the show only the layers with those keyframes, and just adjustment those layers into different position. Okay, so kind of like create more variations. We have so many layers, so because of quite a lot of characters here, so just adjustment into the different position. Okay, to create some variations. All right. Okay, don't forget to create the ending portion as well. This is also quite helpful. Very good. Okay, so at any time you can using Command plus and the Command minus to change the VO, and then hit the space bar to change the, to see the preview of this animation. Well, it's not perfect, but it's acceptable, and it for this demo. What we want to do next is really to create a camera to view these things in a different view. So it's very important things is to Command A, select all the layers, and then turn on the 3D box frame to make this one as a 3D interface. And don't forget to change the VO into 2VO, and highlight the left hand side. You will see a little blue triangle on each corner, and then you want to change this one into custom view 1. Okay, so then we can go to the layer, create a new camera, and you can using camera 24 millimeters and to create a camera. So this one really, by default they have a camera, but you don't have control. Once you add your own camera, and then you can have some new controls with it. Okay, so for example, with the camera you can zoom in, zoom out, you can fly through this object, and you can tilt, bank. You can just change it. It's like you hold a camera. Okay, so to really view this, so let's start with a very simple camera animation. So in this version is 20. Is new update. So this one actually have several very cool, we call it 3D control. It's a new 3D control controller over there. So this is a good time to learn that. Okay, now we create a very basic one for the camera position. The camera itself also have so many animation. So, but what we'll do is to create a camera just the physical position change. Okay, so we key the first part, and also key all the rotations, and we create two keyframes, two pair of the keyframes to complete this animation. Okay, so the pink bar indicator is one camera. By changing with different camera setting, we can really see the things in different view that we're going to introduce in the next part. Okay, so let's continue the practice on this one. First, in this part, we're going to make this one the background, change the background to black. How can we do this? Is hit Command K, and you have this composition settings. Then you just go to the change the black, the background color to the black. Okay. Hit OK, and then we continue to preview this one. And it will be just do, there's some position change. It's mainly for the camera, okay? So it's not a very dramatic change for the camera. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do next is we'll try to focus on each individual layers. And there are some of those layers. For example, we're going to try to create multiple cameras for this. So first, let's play this. So when you hit play, the right side will be what you see in the final composition. So what I want to do is kind of like, oh, okay, I'm going to trim this one from here. So I will do Option and the left bracket to trim this camera. So this camera will end from here. It's just back to the normal, camera position. So we kind of like keep this normal thing around to, let's say, when everything is closed. So it's kind of like, 6 seconds. But we still have a few seconds to play here to create several new cameras and to do some better control to focus on the details. So one thing we want to do is to create a new camera. So let's go to Layer and the New Camera. And we're going to make this one and kind of like 28. Okay. Well, you can do different video, but let's start with a short focal length. So later you can do more control with it. Okay, so let's do 24 millimeter. Hit OK. So in this video, we have a 24. So here we have this. Okay, this transform things here. One things you can do is to really see, for example, in this case, I'm gonna try to focus this one to the path 14. Path 14 is let's see, path 14 is here. It's S, this little s. So what I'm gonna do is you can pair those with the point of interest with the object. So let's say this path 14. Okay, so I'm gonna do is to make this point of interest and the same as the position of the S. So you will see this camera start to catch the S. Okay, so catch this this object. Okay, we can also basically adjustment this one to make this one kind of like a focus on S object only. Okay, so let's see what happens when we do that. Okay, nice. So create a little bit of different animation here to really focus on this object. Okay, so we can zoom in a lot. something like this. Okay, so because you can kind of try to tracking this object, so it will show quite a different view. Because it's kind of a follow this object. Okay, so later we can make this one move in y-axis. Okay, so let's try to trim this camera for make this one just working on very short of a time. So highlight this pink camera, and because this one is only focused on the S, so you can actually rename this one to camera S. Okay, so it's this one focused on that little guy, and using Option left bracket and move a few seconds and right bracket, Option right bracket. Okay, so what you can see here is it's kind of like a change. Okay, so we can do a few more. Okay, so now let's try to you can duplicate this one with select this layer and hit the Command D, and just kind of move this one here. Okay, so this one you can change to different focal length, and then we can try to move to a different object. For example, I'm going to change the point of interest to, let's see, how about this? Okay, so this one will be the path 7. Okay, so we're going to open that. So we're going to match those position here. So in sometimes, the screen just too small. So in that case, you can using the tilt key and to resize it. So we know that we have the point of interest of the camera S2 and using this picker to highlight to this one. So they were kind of like basically tracking this point of interest in the 3D dimension. Okay, it's kind of too short for each of this. So just make this one a little bit longer. So just show you the concept of how this works. And sometimes you can make some gaps between those objects. So they kind of like flick a little bit. Yeah, it's really just based on what do you want for this concept. Okay, it's kind of like make more variations in here. Okay, so you can make it some gaps here. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is make this the whole thing more dynamic with other control for the position, because this all 3D object, so they have also have the y-axis. So if we highlight all the layers, okay, all the available layers, and hit a P, and to show the position, we can see those current position point. But this one only have X and Y adjustment because we do that before. So the third number here is not changed, which give us some opportunity for us to create more, interesting animation. So let's go back to the beginning here. And we're going to select a several object. For example, this one, we can here we can key those position. Let's see, we needed to actually highlight certain layers. Okay, so you want to highlight this one. Make sure that your adjustment to this layer. So you can using Shift key to select this layer. So next time when we wanted to convert to directly do that before to give you this 3D dimension. But now we need to align this exactly position to give this one a 3D touch. Okay, so we can using the blue arrows. So that means Z-axis. So the more close to the pink, the more larger size. So we try to select all of this and to just make them some type of variations. So let's just go select this. Okay, so just try to make it align that the time and the point. So this one wanted to kind of close to me a little bit. Okay. Okay, will be this one. Okay. Well, if you want to make this one kind of like move around, you can just at a certain time. Okay, so you don't have to track the time. So this is gonna make a lot of unpredictable move, but in this case, it could be very interesting. So let's just try to see what we can get from there. Just change the z-axis of those objects. Okay, so try to create the depth of the space. Okay, let's see what we can get from here. Okay, so actually for this one, let's turn off those two because there are so many changes. So we see that space have so many changes. So in this case, you don't have to worry about the size. They actually they're changing the size of this. Okay, so let's see. We can also control in this way. So let's see. I'm gonna to make this one bigger. I can make this one here. Okay. But there's not so many limitations here. So because we have quite a long timeline, so you can use this one to kind of play a little bit with these factors. Okay, so she's gonna repeat again. Yeah, so this in that's too many, because we're kind of like play with this one a lot. So this in have several edges here. So because you have too many points, it's too close. Yeah. So you get the idea. So in this space, you can try to create this type of work. So let's see. Okay, so let's combine with the several other cameras. So the camera can focus on certain part. So you at a certain time we can make this one a little bit longer to see a very interesting combination. Okay, so let me just make this one longer. So I want to see more objects together. Also wanted less change. So let's see. Yeah, at this position, every move is already ended. But what we can do is just make those several variations a little bit longer, so we can keep see those animation if they are closed. Yeah. So a useful or a very good result may need a lot of macro adjustment. But in this case, we just show the basic concept you can use in camera and how you can use in multiple cameras to see the same thing. With combined with the position and I think we can do a lot of works and to create a quite an interesting object. Okay, for to create some similar works. Okay, so in this practice, I think the one thing is we want to try to use is the camera. Okay, so have create multiple cameras. So let's create a one last one. So I'm going to show some concepts. Every time when you create a new camera, you based on the current standard view of this object. So we can create a new camera. Okay, so in here there will be some opportunity for you to change. So if you click 15 millimeters, very short focal length, so they will still see the same, but let's put it here. You still see the same result as a 2D, as front view, but this one will give you the dramatic change because you are using the wider lenses. Okay, so that means when you can fly through the camera, you travel shorter time. Okay, and then you can also have the largest, view angles. Okay, so let's try to just do a fly through, final fly through camera. Okay, so let's say come from here. Okay, I'm going to change the position. Yeah, camera actually have a lot of control as well. For example, you can change the zoom in, zoom out. Okay, so that's the number when we create this object. So I think we can change the zoom as well to add those zoom adjustment. So at the beginning, like 500 to the end, like that. Okay, so sometimes you can combine those factors. Okay, but I wanted to just change the position for this so this one can fly, and at this position here, and to the end, this one gonna fly, uh, leave this 2D object. Okay, so let's preview. Okay, so it just show the basic concept of how you can using the camera system.